Good morning, everybody. Back again in the Lama Lab for another route badge quest. Today, one simply called Big Loop, which I haven't done yet. 43 kilometers, heading out of Watopia City, or Watopia Village, up the epic KOM without the radio tower, down into the jungle and around, back into town, around the bottom of the volcano, back home to where we are now, and we are done for the day. So another route badge. I am about... let me check on Zwift Hub. I'm just over halfway. Let's have a look on Zwift Hub, how many badges I've got to go. Bit of a reality check though when I did document them all and it listed all the hard ones later on. So, just over an hour, maybe hour 15, hour 20. Don't quote me on that, I always go way over time when I'm streaming. But I'll be in the chat, up for a chat of what's new, what's been happening this week, Garmin, what's not been happening this week, and everything else. So, if you want, you can join me for the ride. If you're going to clip in any time in the next hour or so, you can join with me. I'm on Watopia. It's an open world. If you want to join the descent party, you do have to pedal a little bit coming down the epic KOM reverse, though. It's good to see everybody in chat already. Let me just flip open these screens. First of all, I'll tell you how far I'm into the route badge achievements. 3 power meters today, testing another power meter. I'm on the Elite Dorado, and a few other things on the bike, which I'm collecting data with, all on Garmin Edge units because I'm plugging them in to get the fit file off. Achievement-wise, looking at zwifthub.com, I'm 70% there overall for the badges, for these route badges, 70%, but yeah, I've gone the easy way, I've gone the low-hanging fruit. It only means I'm 49% there kilometre-wise or miles-wise. And 50% there climbing-wise and 49% there XP-wise. So, given the put the numbers aside, I'm pretty much halfway there, which is pretty astounding given I've done, 33,000 Ks on Zwift or so. But you have to select the route or do an event that has the route selected to get the badge unlocked. So, that's where we are. Today I'll be switching bikes halfway through on the jungle to get the dirt section over and done with quicker, because they do slow road bikes down on the dirt, which is how it happens in the real world. Alrighty. Oh, Richmond, I'm fully done on Richmond. Am I? Excellent. That's good news. New York, I've got a lot to go on New York. Not a huge fan of New York. Anyhow, on Twitch, on YouTube at the moment, Facebook, I'm giving you a rest today. I've come in at the wrong spot. Did I ever tighten it? Okay, let me go back through the queries first. I haven't read yet. I've got many answers for the Tighten It one, but let me have a look here. Dorado, okay. Do we ever calibrate the unit via the Elite app or only over on Zwift? With Elite trainers, don't calibrate through Zwift. I don't think that calibration is even supported on Zwift for Elite trainers. I'm not 100% on that, but for me, I always use the manufacturer's tool just to be sure. Now, the Ant Plus FEC standard has, I guess, a spin down standard that everyone should adhere to. But when I'm testing accuracy, specifically of trainers, I go to the 10-minute warm-up. Titan's Grove, fantastic for a warm-up. It's just over and under and over and under and over and under. And the last 10 minutes is that long little 2 or 3 minute climb. Great one for warming trainers up. And then I usually unpair everything on Zwift or whatever I'm connected to. Pull out the app on the phone. Do the spin down, and then go from there. Now, I do have my ride-ons given shown on screen today. I kind of have to take that off if I'm doing a workout and I can't give ride-ons back. I copped a bit of interesting feedback that I had a few hundred ride-ons given and 0 returned. But I'm in free ride mode today with this, so I can give a few back. So keep me honest in the chat. Make sure I give people some ride-ons back. I'm doing that by the companion app on screen there. As soon as that circle goes full, I can hit that, boom, and it's kind of random. It gives up to 5 thumbs ups in that general vicinity. If I've already given the rider a thumbs up, they won't get another one. But let's see if, there we go, one got, and the guy disappeared in front of me. Dude. On an Elite Dorado today. It is set to 100% because I am testing some power meters, so I need some kickback on that. With the Dorados though, the Frequency of calibration, not often. Typically, if I'm pulling it out of the box new, well, 2 years ago and a year ago, I think, for the 2 models of Dorettos, I'll do a spin down calibration. I don't think I've done one for a while on the original Doretto, and it's still giving me good numbers. It's probably one of those, every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on usage kind of things, but it seems to be pretty good. There's no way to insert a promo code using Apple TV, no. Or on iOS. I think that may be a limitation of Apple. It's a bit of a loot box thing, or I'm not sure what the limitation. It wasn't Zwift anyway. God of Speed, how are we doing? Good to see you, Harry. And you're washing your hands as you enter the channel. Thank you. Oh, you got a ride on. Hang on, I'll give some more ride-ons back. Here, I've got to give some ride-ons back. So with Apple TV, Alejandro, you can still load Zwift on a PC or a Mac, even if it runs Zwift very, very badly. All you need is just to drop into the game, and then enter the promo code, and then you can go back to Apple TV, and it should be there in your garage. You will need to download Zwift on a Mac or a PC to do that. But you don't need to start a ride, you don't need to go through the horrible experience. If you've got a really old computer, an old Mac, even somebody else's computer, you can do that on your account. My opinion on tightening to match the number on the bottom of the unit there. No, hands. I've never done that. I've always waited for the spin down to return a number. That number's usually been pretty good after 10 minutes of warm-up. So no, not something I've chased. And I can say the Doretto, I use the original Doretto as a trusted source of power comparisons for other power meters. At the moment, it's looking pretty good. Wheel-on trainers definitely need spin downs when things change. But for wheel-off, zero calibration or very low maintenance calibration is pretty much the new standard. Brendan, hotel quarantine in Sydney. Okay, spill the beans. What's the story? Were you traveling, Brendan? And who's footing the cost of that? Is that thanks to Mr. Morrison? Interesting times. Anyway, good chat. Good chat. I'm already 4Ks in here, and this is what makes the time go fast. I do like this. So thanks everyone for contributing there. 4 ride-ons given. Come on, more ride-ons. Star Kid, finally got my hands on a smart bike. Which smart bike did you get, mate? Let us know. Oh, that 100% feeling on a Sunday morning. Oof. Climb hasn't even started. Neo bike, good stuff. I've still got the Neo bike here, and I've yet to loop back to my follow-up videos on that. Favorite smart bike? Puts me on the spot early on. I'm going with the Kicker bike on that one. Each of them have their own positives and negatives. For me, the Kicker bike is like the bike I'm on with the front levers. Hands down, you can't go past the gear changes and the levers on the Kicker bike. They are exactly like Di2, or as close as you're ever going to get without getting a lawsuit to Shimano Di2. And the up-down is pretty cool. Having said that, you pay for that. So the Kicker bike is up here, price point, a little bit lower. You have the stages and the Neo bikes. A little bit lower again, you have the Watt bikes. So, of course, the more expensive one, fully featured. I'm lucky enough to have access to one of those for now. Spent a lot of time on the Stages bike recently. Lots of updates coming out for that. Thoughts on the Kicker Core? Mate, brilliant. Kicker Core is fantastic. If you research anything long enough, every product out there will have cancer, and you'll be evil for purchasing it. It will blow up within 5 minutes. That's pretty much the nature of online reviews. I have my original Kicker Core from 2 or 3 years ago. It hasn't encountered any issues. Still one of my go-to trainers. It's effectively the Kicker 14, 16, 17, all that technology wrapped into one, and quiet with native through axle. So it's fine. Look, my advice there though, there's my Garmin saying you're out of gears, Lama. Purchase locally. big, heavy things like trainers and smart bikes, if you do encounter issues, if you do have to return them, if you purchase locally from a company that's got your back or a store that's got your back, you shouldn't have any issues. There's a ton of happy core owners out there. I have one in my possession. It's obviously a Wahoo unit. It's a media unit that I'll try and hang on to for the life of the unit as updates and things come out. More than happy. And my video that's done the best on trainers in the last few years is the kicker core video. It's exactly what people are after. That mid-range does really well. So the Dorado that I'm on today, the original Dorado, is it's exactly what people wanted years ago. Mid-range, direct drive, accurate, has hills like this, erg mode. The kicker core probably did Garmin A, got Garmin on the mind at the moment, did Wahoo a bit of a disservice. Much like the Dorado did Elite a disservice for the Drivo. Everyone went, you know what? Mid-range is good enough. So purchase local. And, I mean, everyone has their own service case history with companies, so give or take. Traveling for work, just got back from the US. Mate, Brendan that is, did you have a whole row of seats to yourself coming back from the US? It's absolute Christmas if you can have a whole row of seats. 14-hour flight. Give or take the wind. Whew. Speaking of wind, not me in the room here. I need to turn the fans up a little bit. Alrighty. This is just a warm-up hill. 43k's all up today, so I'll be here for a while. Feel free to drop in and out. And if I miss your question, hound me again. I'll see it. Wow. Right. I have the kicker headwind on a manual control. Where are we? Here we go. Come on. There we go. And hopefully this RCX filter is doing well for the sound. Any updates for the Drivo 2? Not that I'm aware of, Lewis. Not that I'm aware of. Stay tuned on the Dorado X though. There are a few things happening there in regards to a couple of tweaks in the mappings and things that I've been seeing people post about. So again, I'll ping Elite on that soon and dive into those. Tesla driving vegan, stages bike, look out. Hot tip on that one, get the accessory change kit so you can put the TT bars on and the climbing shifter. Makes a big difference. Back of a cargo aircraft, mate. Bray is missing pedals. What's up with that, mate? You sold your... So yeah. It's a tricky one, isn't it? New bikes don't come with pedals. Of all the things to, you want to ride the bike out of the store, in Australia, bikes technically, legally, have to be sold with a bell and reflectors on the wheels. Even high-end race bikes have to be sold with reflectors on the wheels, or at least supplied with. So it's funny, you go buy yourself the latest, greatest race bike, and you get a bell and reflectors. Though a bell these days, not really much of a nerdy thing. It's actually handy if you're on a shared bike path. And in New South Wales, I believe it's required. Dual streaming. I am indeed. Restream.io is the service I'm using for this. So within OBS, which is the broadcast software that I'm using here, I simply pump all this into a Restream server in Sydney, so it's close to me. And from there, they then send out, I have to grant them permission to, obviously. They send out to both YouTube and Twitch. And if you're switching between the two, or if you haven't, I wouldn't suggest it. Stay on YouTube. That's where the money comes from for me, from the ads. But Twitch is so much better for quality. Not the quality that I talk about, obviously, it's all pretty pretty much the same. But the visuals and the encoding over on Twitch, absolutely brilliant. And it's from the same stream, so YouTube will grab that stream. I call it running it over with the truck, and then putting it through the dishwasher, and then they broadcast it. Twitch just seems to grab the stream and punch it out. Bunchies for loot badges in the future. If Zwift ever continue on with their club functionality, we can. So I can have a Llama Army club like I have over on Strava, and then I can schedule rides and routes that way. But at the moment, I'd have to do it with a meetup, and meetups are pretty clunky. Rims with reflectors, I'm not sure if that'll count in Australia. Oh, hello legs. Di2's telling me that's all the gears that I have. Thankfully, we're not doing the radio tower today. Alrighty. Would I consider reviewing the power pod? One that comes up quite a lot. If I had the time and had access to one, sure. Would I pay for one? No. No. Reason being, it doesn't work indoors. It's an opposing force power meter, so it takes the oncoming wind and tells you how hard you're pushing into that wind, factoring in what your weight are. What has it got? Your weight? Well, probably wouldn't have your, that's about all it'll have, plus your power. If you match it with the power meter, you get some CDA stuff, which is cool. Sure, if I had the time, but if people are looking for an accurate way to measure power that just works like instantly and is simple, from what I understand of that machine, it's not the way at this point. Jet Black trainers, yes, Jet Black are coming out with 2 new models, I think. We've seen that tease out, that's not under embargo or anything. They should be soon. They went into production a few weeks back. The team at Jet Black from New Zealand tell me there's one tagged with my name, so yeah, stay tuned for that one. There's no traditional Eurobike this year. Most companies, though, are still producing new things, so definitely hit subscribe. Definitely around Eurobike time, which is close to now, which is definitely a hint. Anyhow, next Zwiftcast, I believe Simon has taken August off, so we can't hang on Simon and his Tron bike quest for the next month. Yeah. Virtual Tour de France production value, I was really disappointed. It wasn't what we expected as a normal Tour de France. I think what Zwift did with that, well, first of all, let me say, I think that race was, don't quote me on this, the seriousness and the level of that racing, I mean, it was there, obviously at the top end, for a number of teams. For a few other teams, I think they approached it with the same value as the UCI points that were on offer for that race. There was none. I mean, Froome dropped at 8Ks on the Champs-Élysées. That happened at the Tour de France. Headlines. So, that's on the racing side of things. However, the people at the front, they were taking it serious. NTT swept it up. And good to see. As for the production level, I think the mistake there was that, well, traditionally the ASO just make the raw feeds, don't they? And the chateaus and rolling fields and the raw race. I think that's what Zwift did officially with the ASO, produced the raw feed and had the broadcasters around the world try and produce the same level of production as they do for the normal Tour de France. It's not going to happen. Most of them don't understand Zwift deep enough to be able to produce content like they do on normal cycling. So I think that was a bit of a flaw there. Zwift's official with the 2 commentators, not too bad, but it's hard. So Zwift are a company who obviously make the platform. They make this. Are they an entertainment company though? Well, the ASO don't make roads. And they don't even do the entertainment side of things of the Tour de France. They make the roads, they make the Tour de France a race. the broadcasters make the race. So I think there was a bit of a disconnect there. I'm not saying it was bad, but it's just different. It lacks that roadside randomness. There were no dogs jumping out. There was no landslides. There wasn't even a time trial. Zwift have a time trial mode. Where was that? And Zwift is, if you've raced a bike, you know Zwift is much more like a time trial than it is a road race. There's no coasting. It's just, the biggest meat motor wins, which is typically like a time trial. I don't know. We'll see what they do. The ZCL stuff, Nathan's been doing this for a long time. Doing it very well. So, we'll see. Yeah, I agree with the comments. It's not like watching normal racing though. And it's funny, when people criticise that, I think the response from other people is, well, it's not real racing. It's like, okay, well, but you're trying to replicate the Tour de France. Why not replicate the Tour of Mars, Jupiter? Or, something fictional. But no, it's Tour de France, so people believe it's trying to replicate that. And where it can't, said it's not. Nah. Tom, I'd steer clear of any flux, to be honest. I started off on 2 wrong feet with the Flux original, breaking 2 of them. The third one I couldn't break. If it's all you can get, it's better than nothing. But just the ride feel of the Flux is a little laboured. Which job would I rather have right now? Director of the CDC in the US or Garmin CIO? Well, the Garmin CIO is probably not doing a hell of a lot at the moment. Well, on his own computer. Wasn't the CDC bypassed by the government for numbers the other day? Neither of them. Let's tap Tim. Yeah, spot on. Sorry, just to loop back to what you've said there. That for me, what it's all about. And if you saw the video that I did announcing the virtual Tour de France, it wasn't a flippant attitude towards, Tour de France, whatever. It was more of a, what's in it for us? What's in it for you guys? I guarantee you not a lot of pro people watch my channel. I got 125,000 non-pros who most likely ride Zwift, who are wondering, okay, that's for them, what's for us? So for me, what's for us was La Tap. That was a blast. I loved it. Virtual tour of Rome. That'd be the Giro, wouldn't it? So for me, it's more about what's in it for us, what's in it for me as just an average user, what's in it for you guys as average users. Badge unlocks. That's what we're in it for. Whew. But that worked well. Similar to the Oat Route, hugely popular. And what was the other one? Was it Tour of Watopia? I think did really well. But they can't saturate. You can't say, okay, that works well, let's do 500 of them. Not going to work. They need to be key events. And if you can link that to a real world event. Ventoux was brutal. Oh, mate. Yeah. However, was it the next day I did Ventoux again? I've done it twice. Maybe a little more. Beep, out of gears again. Thanks, DI2. You can ride Mont Ventoux chilled if you've got the right gearing. It just takes a while. Whew. Bit of a rest through the castle here. Onto the cobbles. Kevin, getting your first smart trainer, likely the Neo 2T. What's the biggest single difference you would expect from your old fluid trainer? I'm assuming your fluid trainer was a wheel on. So first of all, Kevin, your power numbers will typically be more accurate on the Neo, the 2T. Obviously you have to remove your rear wheel. It won't change based on heat. Fluid trainers change the first few minutes. They have to heat up and the fluid gets more viscous or less viscous. Either way, less. And then you have to change down a few gears. Your Neo 2T won't do that, won't be affected by heat, not unless it blows up. What else? Likely quieter. You will need to look after it. It's a computer. Neo 2T, all smart trainers have circuit boards in them, so the old fluid trainer you could throw in the back of the car, take to a race, leave outside for the night. The dog could pee on... No, don't let your dog pee on your Neo. The old ones were a little bit more resilient because they were fluid dumb trainers. These new ones are computers. They have firmware. They need a power source. Well, the Neo doesn't technically need a power source, but it's good to have one in there. Make sure you get the latest firmware. There was a new firmware update out for the 2T a week or so ago. Doesn't require a spin down. Should be good to go. You should be good to go. I'd always recommend a direct drive over a wheel on, if that's suitable for the bike you have in the budget. And the space. Some of these things are pretty big. All right, halfway up the epic KOM, not to the radio tower. We're going to head down through the jungle and back home. So we've still got another 33k to go. Is the Kicker Core better than the Flux 2? For me, I find the Kicker Core a better ride, yes. Service afterwards. Well, no one really services the things. If they break within warranty, you'll get a replacement. I'm not sure of any servicing that can be done on the Flux 2 by yourself anyway, other than simple free hub servicing, keeping the thing clean. Every decent smart trainer is sold out in Australia, yes. Welcome to the middle of winter and peak roan season. How's Melbourne's numbers today? If anybody finds out, let me know. Melbourne's looking pretty bad. Lockdown 2.0. Oops, more ride-ons. Give. Three power meters that are happy. That makes for a good ride. 456 today? No. It was 357 yesterday, wasn't it? Oh, man. Stop licking handrails, Melbourne. Stop licking handrails. Uber Pretzel, no, this is just Big Loop. They're the least creative names for a route. Big Loop. Which I haven't done. 43k. Uber Pretzel's still on the list. And when I'm doing that, I don't think I'll be making fun of the name. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Melbourne. I'm not Melbourne. They're next door. They can stay there. I do feel sorry for anybody in Melbourne who's having to go through all the lockdown stuff again. Here's what it is. In for the long haul. 456. Stage 4 incoming. Stage 4, Letap de Rhone, Melbourne. PRL 4, mate, I haven't even done PRL half. No, we won't discuss the US's numbers. No, that's a whole other country. Planet. Stratosphere, world. Galaxy. But we're all in it, though. We're all in it. What power meter pedals would I recommend? Good question. I'll answer that one with what do I use the most? That's for Vero Asioma Duos. Put those on the bike 2 years ago after using the PowerTap P1s quite a lot. And the Asioma Duos really surprised me. Not from a large company, for Vero. Not their first rodeo. For Vero had the B Pros. I think the B Pro 2s? Not sure. But, gears. But they came out with the Asiomas. Nothing more than an 8mm hex to install them. Seem to be accurate, but they test very well. Good battery. good feature sets, and pretty good pricing. So that's what I use a lot of. I think I have 4 sets of them now. Having said that, I unboxed a new pair of Garmin Vector 3s. Yes, I said Garmin. Ooh. We'll talk about that in a moment. Unboxed a pair of Vector 3s. Again, because if I just continue to use one power meter and keep trusting that, what if it drifts? What if that becomes incorrect? So I need to keep that honest by testing another against another source. It's all training, so got that done this week with a set of Vector 3s. Spot on. That's with the new batteries and battery caps. Got to put the kids to bed. Enjoy, Hans. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for dropping by. Power meter for use with speed play pedals. You have to go with spider based, go with Quark. XKD. That spider power meter was okay-ish once I recalibrated. Suji out of China. I have another one to test right here. The original Suji they sent 6 months ago. Been a lot of to and fro, trying to understand what's going on. The original was really good. A few spikes, but power's spot on. Following firmware updates, the thing was just a bit off. In trying to fix the spikes, it's sort of changed other things. So they couldn't get to the bottom of that, and they've sent me a new unit to have a look at. So that's on the table. But for now, money not an issue. You want a solution that works. Quark D0 for a spider-based. Do the job. Where is Von? Looking after Max at the moment. Von's out riding her new bike this afternoon, so hence me cramming in a session this morning. Will Wahoo release new trainers this year? The best advice I can give is subscribe to the channel, and as soon as any embargoes or anything is announced, you'll see it here. As well as Ray stuff. Also subscribe to DesFit. The 3 of us have got pretty much everything covered. Yeah, I have 4 pairs. So, multiple bikes, I thought, with all the testing of these smart bikes, rather than keep switching pedals over, and I've done the mountain bike hack to one of the pedals, so I want to leave those when I get another gravel bike. And I know the power meter just works. I've got the chargers for them. Yeah, so it was a no-brainer. And the setup of them was fine. Now, do you want to talk about Garmin? Or do we wait for the descent? Hang on one sec. 153 viewers. Yeah, not really my target demo time of day, but I do appreciate people dropping by. This is my midday, which is everyone else's middle of the night, so that's cool. Okay, Garmin. Keeping on topic of the power pedals. At this point in time, if I was to unbox a pair of Vector 3s, I couldn't set them up and configure them for things like Auto Zero or check the firmware, because the Vector 3s require access to Garmin Connect to do that. That's currently down. That's not a good thing. Having said that, unboxing a new pair of Asioma Duos, you do have to register them with Favero before they're activated. But once done, you're good. Quark, on the other hand, you just turn the Quark on. It works. You can connect to it via the app direct and locally. So the issue we're seeing with Garmin at the moment, so big long story short, Garmin's down. Every Garmin service for cycling, I think their GPS is the InReach service. I think maybe up. They could also be supplied by a different manufacturer or supplier of hardware or services. But Garmin Connect, Garmin.com, Garmin support, syncing to anything Garmin, down digitally. Unconfirmed reports, though lots of people seem to confirm it. Ransomware attack. Not good to see my old life mix with the new life. I was in IT security for many years. So just quickly, ransomware attack or crypto locker attacked at a very bad description or a short description of what a crypto locker will do. It'll grab the files on your computer, maybe on a server, maybe in the cloud, wherever it can run. It'll encrypt those files with a key that can only be unencrypted when the hackers or the bad actors hold the other unencrypted key, unencryption key. Sorry, I'm at 142 beats. So what that does is, imagine if any files on your computer were locked up, you couldn't get to them. When you went to open them, it says, pay this money to get the key to unlock your files. In a nutshell, that's what that is. It's pretty crafty technology. What they use is, for these things to happen, they're one step ahead of the antivirus people. A lot of the time, one step ahead of, say, Microsoft or whatever platform things are running on. It's always the case. You can't patch to 0 day. So it appears, allegedly, as reported, what other words can I use so I don't get sued? It looks like it has all the hallmarks of that's taken place on their network somewhere, on a system somewhere. Things are locked down. They don't have access to it. Now, the trick is now, once you've been compromised, it's no longer your system. If someone's come in there, Anthony Hayward, how are we doing? Horsham represent. If someone else has had access to your system, so if someone's walked through your house without your knowledge, with malicious intent, you don't know what possessions you currently have. You don't know what they've taken. You don't know what they've planted until you've done a complete and thorough sweep. So while people are saying at the moment that your personal data is safe, that's pure speculation. While they're saying your personal data hasn't been taken, that nobody can make that. I don't think even Garmin know that at the moment. So what they'll be doing, correct, if it is, people are saying it's wasted locker. If someone can draw a cartoon, can someone draw a locker room, like a sports locker room, with someone in a Garmin shirt looking really deflated and defeated with the word wasted locker? I reckon it'd be it's a nasty thing of doing, but if you want to put the current thing into a comic, that's what you do, like a locker room. Anyhow, so people are saying it's Evil Corp with wasted locker, which typically doesn't care about your data. They just encrypt what's there and then ask for money. That's assuming that's the only thing that's taken place. If wasted locker has infiltrated their network, what else has got in? And how long have they been there? And that's the trick with backups. Let's say that thing's been in the network for 6 months. Pure speculation again, but from my other life. If what happens is your backups are also compromised, you don't have anything to go back to. Or they're so far outdated, they're irrelevant. And one thing Von brought up, Mrs. Lama. A lot of people are saying, if Garmin have my latest workout, who cares? Or if Garmin or the hackers have my latest workout, who cares? Sure, no one cares about your workout. What they want is your name, where you live, your email address, your physical address, trends on your activity, who you ride with, where you ride. For me, that'd be very interesting. Your emergency contact information. So when you've been compromised on Garmin, allegedly, let's assume, speculative. So now, let's say my account's been done. They have Von's contact information. They have her email address, and they have her phone number. Potentially. So it's not about your workout. No one cares about your workout. 459, 10 deaths confirmed. Melbourne. It's bigger picture stuff. Garmin Pay. Details for Garmin Pay should be stored on the device. And as someone pointed out the other day, only as a token. They're not going to come and swipe your credit card. Maybe they know what kind of credit card you have, though. Oh, Lama has what don't I have? A Sports Spend Direct Visa. Okay, cool, they've profiled me for that. Next time around with a targeted phishing attack, hey Lama, full name, full address. Click here to check your account on blah server with your sports spender visa. It's a much bigger picture than just your workout. But the position they're in, so we're not doing epic KOM. Oh, not the radio tower, thank Christ. We're off to the jungle now, so it's all good. So it's outside of the square stuff. And until they know the extent of the compromise, if it is a compromise, they can't even say much about it. They don't even know themselves. Common routing locations. Look, a lot of that info is out there for free anyway. And people are saying, what's it matter because I put that up, upload that anyway. Sure, that's the public information you upload and you're okay with that. We all agree to that. All on Strava. I've also got a security zone around my Strava home, around my mother's house, around a few other locations that I frequent. So if I start and stop a ride there, nobody can pinpoint me to the exact location, not to the knock on a door and come and take my smart bike's location. However, in the hands of the wrong people, they don't care about that. The people who could potentially have access to this information don't honor security standards or GDPR or anything. They do not give an absolute flying fit file about your protection. Spinning back to 2015 or 16, Ashley Madison, an adult affair website, was hacked. What the hackers do after a while, publish the entire database of people who were registered for anyone to look up. I tell you what, if I was getting some data from Strava by looking at all the publicly posted events and rides and things, I could tell what head unit people were using, the average pace of your ride, your average power, if you had a heart rate, if you were a premium subscriber or not. I could tell if you did an event multiple years running, I could tell when you upgraded your computer. I'd know your suburb. This is all on the public information. It's nuts what you could carve up. I mean, if you look at Strava have all this information too, so it's crazy what you can get from just public information. So the information you don't want public, not to mention the password database, if that's not encrypted or salted or whatever. Oh, we saw Training Peaks send out. Yes. That kicked in fast. Training Peaks did send out an FYI, if you use the same password for Garmin connectors here, please change your password. One mistake the Training Peaks did use is they put a click link in the email. That's exactly what the phishing scams do. It's probably best off to say, please, just advise people to log into the service as you normally would, rather than give them a link to click, because the next tactic when, let's say all your Garmin Connect details have been leaked, and there is a link there saying that you are linked to Training Peaks, what I would do as a bad actor is profile everybody, say, okay, everyone's got a Training Peaks link, cool, send out email to everyone on Training Peaks saying that your password's been compromised, click this link here to change your password on Training Peaks, because I have confirmed your full name and address and everything. It's just nuts. 3 a.m. in Sweden, go back to bed. Martin 400. No, it's 11:30 here in the morning. We're down under. It's lots of discussions online about this and the potential damage this could have done for Garmin. Ashley Madison's still online, still have a business. Garmin will get over this regardless. It's just a small hurdle. Yeah, it's a stain on them, of course. Could happen to anyone. There's probably thousands and thousands of workers who aren't doing anything at the moment. Grand scheme of things, there's the Rona. There's a lot more people than that in a lot worse positions. Funk 44, that's exactly what I was doing. It's exactly what I was doing. iMacros, handy little tool. Apparently they have rate limiting too. I did a lot of Strava Insights videos, and I ended up having a phone call. Not initiated by me, initiated by Strava, telling me to maybe not do that anymore. Why does the saddle feel so much harder when on a trainer? Because there's no movement, Christian. There's no wiggle, and typically you're not going to be out of the saddle a lot, and you're not going to be coasting. Outdoors, you'll have corners, you'll be going around, you'll be out of the saddle at lights and intersections. You'll be on and off the saddle a lot. If there was an ANT plus AST sensor to tell you when you are on the saddle and out, I can guarantee you it wouldn't be bothered too much indoors. Outdoors, it'd be beeping like a car alarm. Pay Evil Corp their 10 mil. There was a funny tweet today. Some lady on Twitter has posted out with, come on Garmin, I've spent $700 on your watch. Just pay them 10 million so I can go and upload my run to Strava. Said in good humour without a winky. Was kind of missed the humour by a few, but that was brilliant. Restore from backup, assuming the backups aren't compromised. Not as easy as that. Strava and Fitbit will be packing it, working overtime. Hell yeah. Hells yeah. Look, a good security model will fence off everything, most things. Again, bigger picture, Garmin Aviation is affected. I think someone over on the Trainer Road forums had a crack about Lycra louts, which is funny because it's a cycling forum. Lycra louts can... Something or other about Lycra louts, whinging. It's more important that the aeroplanes aren't flying or something. Good point, but you don't kind of attack the audience first before making a point. How can I tell if their backups are compromised? Do a test restore. It's tough. The best hacks are the ones I don't detect for years and years. And if you've only got grandfathered backups to say 12 months, 24 months, and something's been planted for longer than that, you don't have your data anymore. And the best bit is if you just change a little bit rather than a lot. Whew. All-time favourite route on Zwift, Watopia Hilly. What's my day job if I'm no longer in IT security? This keeps me occupied and employed. Breaking trainers. And YouTube. What's going on in the chat? Houston, China embassy burning Garmin documents. If it's not on fire, it didn't happen. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. How long does it take to get to level 4? Did it take to get to level 50? For me, I've been on this for 6 years or so now, so there wasn't even level 50 when I started. Level 50 will take around, is it, I think, 8,000 Ks? Someone could correct me on that one. Pro cyclist. Technically, a lot of the rides that I do are tax deductions. The fishing possibilities, yeah. See, it's so as I was back to the original message, and I appreciate everyone comes from a different understanding of security and systems and how they operate. Even mine's not going to be a complete picture of everything, of course. There's, oh, rock. What was that? Everyone's going to have different angles, but from the run-up that I've had in IT security, it's not about your workout. No one cares. No one cares about your heart rate. If somebody had access to millions of data points, that's interesting. Millions of data points over time period, it's even more interesting. You see trends. The dad jokes. Required here on the channel now. Speaking of trends, and Ray pointed this out, a lot of us noticed early on. If you go to status.strava.com, which was in my video from last night, you care about my heart rate, thank you. Status.strava.com, you'll see the overall upload graph and the overall uploads from Garmin Connect. Interesting they've split those two out. That in itself is some information disclosure. Assuming the graphs are on like the total uploads versus Garmin Connect, and what's missing from the top is the Garmin Connect. That's a lot of information about how many uploads come from Garmin Connect. Anybody in the crew here, I'm going to switch to a mountain bike in just a few moments. I'll do that now. From what we can tell, sorry, my speech is caffeinated, is that most uploads from Strava are, it's around, what, 40 to 44, 45% have uploads come from Garmin Connect. That's a big stakeholder in Strava. I assume Zwift is another double-digit contributor to the overall uploads. But if you've got a website, just Alt-Tab, open another window. I'm not going to do that now. I'm switching to mountain bike. Where am I? Stop. Come on. And go. Menu. Okay, we want garage. Frame. Mountain. You can have a look at the overall uploads and downloads. Overall uploads from Garmin Connect. What color mountain bike? Red goes faster. Back. And we are on. Very interesting stuff. Garmin Aviation. It did affect Garmin Aviation. If you just type in Garmin Aviation, have a search for that. You'll see. Yeah. I miss decent coffee. Well, mate, you're stuck in Sydney. Level 34 at 7,100. Oh, it's more than 8,000 Ks. Oof. Interesting. Stephen from Chicago. Good. I have no idea what time it would be in Chicago. Purple is faster than red? What are you saying? Are we all on mountain bikes? Good stuff. Cruise the dirt. So we're about halfway. We're around the jungle and then back into around the bottom of the volcano, and then we're home. 8:37 p.m. That's not bad at all. Good dinner time. Scott switched to Wahoo last fall. I confirmed with Wahoo last night, just out of my own interest's sake, if their cloud was to go down, how does the sync take place from the from the Wahoo head units? And it is direct from the head unit to the third party. Hey, buddy. How are you? Mr. Maxwell makes an entrance. You've had a good sleep? Yeah? What's going on, mate? You want to come and wave? No? We've moved some of the bikes out of here. Say hello, chat. Maxie? You say hello to chat? Good, yeah. Max says hi. Give us a wave, bub. Where's your feet? Elbows, is it? The kid has huge hands. Have I shown everybody his hands? He has monster paws. Oh, you're not gonna touch? Fist bump? No? Okay. Massive hands on the little kid. Yeah, that's Dada. Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. We're up and down the mountain. Had a good chat about Garmin.
You're on the home stretch?
Oh, kinda. We're on the dirt. This bike flies on the dirt. Oh, more ride-ons given. There we go. Good AFL hands. There we go. Maxie was watching footy this morning. Dada or data? Both. Interesting on the Strava status, the value on overall uploads drops near 0. Yeah. Oh, sloth. If you noticed, Angela says hi, Von.
Hi, Angela.
Right when Garmin Connect went down, it did drop to 0. But I think that was on the normal trough anyway. 16,000 kilometers to get to level 50. Oh, hats off to anyone aiming for that. That's a long way to the top. Mobile Maxwell. Hey, buddy. You are so fast now. Say hi, Harry. Mac, he's so short, he's not even on camera now, he's right below me. Bye, Max. Watch the light. This room would be heaps of fun for a kid. There's toys everywhere. I've got a question. I'm a sprinter. Can I be a climber? That depends. Some people just aren't built for it. The best one to answer that one would be an experienced coach to have a look that if you're just a natural sprinter with like muscle fiber types and a physiology that lends itself towards sprinting, they'll be able to pick that straight away. If you've just trained yourself into being a sprinter, sure, you can be a climber. You just have to be a lot lighter than the typical sprinter. Cycling's a cruel sport. You can want to be anything, but sometimes you've got to deal with what you got. For me, I'm not a pure sprinter. I was better at longer time trial threshold stuff. Just pinging right at VO2, like really high up there. And in an aero position. I had to work on my sprint though, for where I was doing that in road races and I was away with a smaller bunch. So you've always got to have a sprint on you, even as a climber. You don't want to get to the top of a climb with 3 other climbers and be the worst sprinter in the bunch. So, as a climber, you do have to have a little bit of a sprint. As a sprinter, typically you don't need to climb. There'll never be your role in a team. Or if you're a Clydesdale, the numbers are always against you. It depends what you enjoy, though. That's I guess what it's about. People say train your weaknesses. I flip that on its head and say train your strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses. They'll come into their own. That's like an 85-kilo guy wanting to win an uphill time trial. Not going to happen. Under most circumstances. How did I get into cycling? Always ridden a bike. As a kid, it's how we got around country towns and things. So always been on a bike, doing mad jumps. And don't change gears, buddy. To and from school, and then into work in IT for many years, and then to and from work on a bike, racing people on the bike path. I came up against someone called Jason Den Hollander, who was part of a local bike club, and he said, "Come and race. Yeah, you're doing all right on a bike. Come and race." So I did. I don't think he wanted me to go race again after that. That was D grade. And then, it went from there. Tour down to 2021. We don't know. I don't think we'll see a Tour de France. So we just don't know what the world's going to do. Is the kicker bike worth buying? Sure. If you're going to use it. Value-wise is always hard to answer. Everyone's different. For the use we get out of it, I can't get my wife off it. Yeah, for sure. Maxie's running riot in here. Man from the Philippines watching from Taiwan, right on. Hey, Taiwan. Magine T300. Stay tuned. Stay tuned on that one. Magine have both, at the moment, the T300 and the T100. The T300 I'm interested in. T100 I've seen on their website. Here's an interesting angle on that one. Hey Max. The T100 is a direct drive dumb trainer with Bluetooth broadcast. Maximum wattage, I think, of 500 watts. I'd love to get my hands on one of those and rip its head off. However, if it's only a few $100s and it's a gateway to get into better trainers, no one's done the super cheap direct drive yet. No one's done that. What's my main goal as a cyclist? To be fit enough to continue to test equipment. So, being able to complete the Lama Lab test. I've been doing a lot of 5x5s lately at a higher rate. Kicking a sprint over 1100 watts, I think gives a good representation of what a power meter can do for me. Again, not pure sprints, but testing for COVID is like a pregnancy test though. You only didn't have it. Zumo. Yeah, Zumo. Not super cheap though, as in not like only a few $100s. Tested fine here though. That was a surprise package from Elite. Kick a climb, good stuff, Dan. Always livens the ride up. When you expect the kick a climb to do its thing up and down a hill, of course it goes up and down. It's when you're riding along and not thinking about it, and the bike drops you down, you're like, oh, that's right. That's the part that's cool. Looking for a new front light. Currently have a Garmin light. I'm out of the loop for lights. Years ago, what were we using years ago? AUPs. We were using AUP, AY-UP. I think an Australian mob were making those. Yeah, don't let Max unplug the trainer. Yeah, pretty much. Well, if there's a Neo, we wouldn't have to worry. Hey, Maxie. Time for lunch, mate? Yes? I'll join you soon, mate. The sport's up and running in Australia now. Some. But it's weird. A lot of them are without crowds. Nothing in Victoria, the state that I'm in. Yeah. Where do I race? Nowhere at the moment. I have raced all over Victoria. Bit of New South Wales, South Australia. Over in Perth, it's a good race scene over there. A couple of events up in Darwin. That was fun. Southern Masters. Did a couple of events with Southern Masters years ago. As I was sharpening up for possibly Tour of Bright, or maybe some of the time trial series stuff. Always tough racing with Southern. What type of racing would I consider myself excelling in? Well, I did well in time trials. I did pretty well in crits when we could split the field. So I won the crit champs for the Masters 2 here in Ballarat, 2014. We had to split the field for that. Road racing, well, if I could turn a race into something that suited me, which was make it a time trial, get off the front, get into a small group, and then kick them in the sprint. That worked. Bunch sprints, not my thing. Not with only about 1200 watts out on the road. Hill climbs, yes, when I drop some weight. So for the Tour of Bright, I had to get down to about 69 kilos to be competitive and turn a hill climb into a time trial. I think my strengths were just sitting right on threshold or just above the shorter efforts, under an hour. And using technology to help out there for pacing and aero. But the last thing you want to do is spend a lot of energy to be in a breakaway with 5 guys and not have a sprint. No, thank you. When will Zwift allow world changes without logging out? I have no answers. I still have to log out, like everyone else. Best climb in Victoria? Oh, there's tons. I mean, the 1 in 20's always been good. It's a good 13 and a half minute effort if you're flying. Look, Hotham for the most epic, because it's with Mount Hotham, You turn around, you come around the corner at Harrietville, you go up that 8% section for a few hundred meters on the left-hand side, and you'll see this on Google Maps, 30 Ks to go to Hotham Village. That's a beast. We'll race up that quite a few times. Just riding up that with friends. It's a great day out. Buffalo's fantastic for an FTP test. 47 minutes to an hour to the top turn on Buffalo. The hard part's at the bottom when you're fresh, and it's broken up into certain segments. So Buffalo's up there. Bawbaw, let's not speak of Bawbaw. Mount William's good, other side of the states. Mount William is a 2-stage climb from the main road to the car park, 4 to 5%. And then from the car park up, I have a video on YouTube about that. Mount William Summit, Gplama, if you search that one up. I'm doing 470 to 480 watts and doing about 6 kilometers per hour, maybe slower. That thing kicks like a mule. Freddie Ovett has the 1 in 20. Was it 12 minutes he has, or 11? High 11s. I think Canty went for that. Keegan Girdlestone had a crack at that, I believe. The 1 in 20 is also wind dependent. You've also got to be a monster. My best effort up the 1 in 20, 12:20, was I think mid-13s, 13:45. Not with the best power though. My best power up there was about 4:30 or 4:35 for around 14 minutes. That was a bad wind day, or I was just too heavy. My best time up the 1 in 20 was set with the Blackburn time trial years ago, where we stripped the bike of weight, skin suit, TT helmet. Now, you might think a TT helmet for uphill, but the 1 in 20, we average around 30 k an hour. You got to roast me. Go ahead, but I can also block you. Back to the question. I can talk about race days all day. Any issues with the kick? I've recently upgraded the firmware and the brake doesn't seem to be working in workout mode. It sounds like you need a spin down or a factory spin down on the kicker. Give that a shot. Peter Pan looking asks, hey David, mate, thanks for dropping by, but there are a number of other people in the chat here who respect what I do. I don't respect what you do after you being a complete dick, so you can go fuck yourself and you're going to be blocked. Thanks for coming. I don't take any shit here, okay? Don't fucking piss me off. Apologies for the language for anybody watching at home. I'm not asking you to watch. I'm not asking for your respect, but I'm not asking for your disrespect either. And now you've impacted everyone else while I sit here, find your stupid ass to block. So you can go away. Thanks for coming. And you will not be contributing anymore. If you're a subscriber, feel free to unsubscribe, David. But I don't want you to ruin everyone else's experience, including mine. So you're now gone, mate. Look, there's YouTubers out there who are polite. Fucking cross me though. And I'll use the tools at my discretion in my house to deal with you. All right. Back on the road bikes. Happy days. Alrighty. What road bike are we going with? See, we have to wait till we fully stop. No, there's too much negativity on the internet these days anyway. There's no point even letting someone have a voice like that. Go, mate, go create your own sandpit of shit and do whatever you like over there where no one will listen to you scream. But in what I've built here, you have no right to come in here and even joke around. There's a general ribbing, but if you're going to have a crack without knowing me, there's your result. You don't exist, mate. And whatever you said in that saying now is gone. So, that's how we go. I'll tell you what, if I'm angry racing, you won't see me again. Speaking of which, Mount Hotham, here we go. Sorry, crew, we're back on. Oh, Tron bike. Oh, hats off, well selected. Mount Hotham, we were having a chat in the bunch, and someone turns to me. I was racing with Justin Warnes at the moment. Now, Warnes got me into cycling at that level. And he was struggling. He'd trained hard for the race, but wasn't Warnes' day. And I'm going, come on, Warnes. There's probably 6 of us in the bunch. 5k out from the top of Hotham. I'm trying to rev Warnes up. Come on. I mean, this guy would ride Mount Baw race, drive to Mount Hotham that day, and then ride that as training. Hard man, like you've never seen. But it just wasn't his day. So I'm trying to rev him up. Someone much turns to me and goes, Lama, if you can effing talk, you're not effing going hard enough. That was me doing an Aussie accent. I'm like, was that? All right, and then bang. If I ever need a reason to attack, watch the Jordan documentary. If someone hated on Jordan, he used that as energy, and off he went. Same deal. Anyhow, let's roll on. My power goes through the roof when I'm pissed. Don't worry about that. If you can ride a time trial angry, you'll win championship medals. That's all good. And as I said, I do appreciate everybody who is in chat, who respects what I do. Look, you don't have to agree with everything. You don't have to like everything I do. It's never going to be the case. But if we're on similar wavelengths, and if something someone says in the chat makes me think outside my square, something I say enlightens something else, that's what it's about. If we were all the same, life would be boring. But it's also about respecting that. Geography teacher. Have you seen the Lama drives where I point out, we've raced that road. Haven't done a lot of those lately, but that's always fun. It's got to be pure anger to be worthwhile. Who's in the British kit? Okay, someone tell me what kit that is. What is that a British Champs kit? No. Let's have a look. Looks like Wigo, doesn't it? What is? I have not seen that kit. Somebody will know in the chat. It's got to be, because if it's your mate trying to rev you up and you know they're just having a crack, then you sort of end up laughing. And as you Harry go to Yorkshire, okay, right. I don't take a lot of attention or make a lot of attention to kids. The steel frame. I used to ride around on the Buffalo bike a lot. I should go back to the Buffalo bike. It's a bit of fun. But I'm now reaching these badges that just keep getting further and further and further. Oh, we're well over the hour. Apologies. What did I say, an hour 15? Okay, from here, it's out back into the village, around the outskirts of the volcano, and back home, and we're done. So another 10Ks and we're done. Again, I do appreciate the chat. It's been an eventful few days online in the sports tech space, Garmin being one of them. But I see Wigo put the other British champs. I've seen Wigo still active on social media, which is good. Looks like a different guy, though, than whoever won the tour. And the 2012, was it the Olympic TT? He said the other day that he was embarrassed at himself with how he acted at that time trial. But I think that was just showmanship. It's a part of the spectacle. That was fine. I don't think anybody ever takes some of that too seriously. Obviously, the effort that he did was serious, but I mean, was it Valentino Rossi who really changed up MotoGP from when I started watching MotoGP anyway? Big showmanship stuff. Did anybody watch the MotoGP the other night? My word. Hell ride? No, I steered clear of the hell ride. Probably 1 or 2 times I snuck into the hell ride, but not something that I participated in on a regular basis. Shirtless British champs jersey, leggings there, socks. Oh man. Ray is 13 years old, raced yesterday, and got any tips for higher divisions? Ray, what I found from going into higher divisions early on was some of the lower divisions are still just as fast. So speed-wise, pretty much, yeah, and what you're pedaling at is pretty much the same. However, the attacks and the surges are at another level. And that's what cracks everyone. So if you're in C or D, you know, you just haven't got that in the legs to punch as high as the Bs and the As. But you go from B to A, oh, you get beaten up. But that is the best part about the training. Getting dropped, you learn something. Finishing with the bunch, you'll never really question. Yeah, you'll celebrate that. But if you can last 20 minutes when you step up to the next grade, last 20 minutes in that race of a 1 hour crit, you're doing really well. Next week, last 45. The week after, finish with a bunch. Give it a while, and you can be contesting. It's punch, 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 punch. When you're fit, and at the front of the bunches, throwing those punches, there's nothing better. Because if there's money on the line, you'll do the math, and we used to do that in crits. If it's paying down to 5th, and you're in a bunch of 6, you keep kicking. You can drop one person, you're in the money, done. You can't get any worse than a pay packet. If you're 5th and they're paying down to 5th. If you want some more money, keep kicking, keep kicking. You've got to have the confidence in the legs to do that though. But it's motivation. A D grade passing C grade in a crit, and you get a mouthful. Absolutely, it happens. B grade will overtake A grade sometimes. But then if A grade is stomping, get out of their way. So just be ready for that. And be ready for it to go from the gun. In a race, if you're on the start line of, say, a 40-minute criterium and you haven't warmed up, you're going to be a bit nervous. Because if it goes from the gun and you're punching well over FTP for the first 5 minutes, you never go and do an effort hold over FTP for 5 minutes if you haven't warmed up. So watch for that. Always hit the start line expecting the race to be as hard as possible for the first 20 minutes. Because if it is, you're ready. If it's not, you are laughing because you're just recovering for 20 minutes before it starts. And one thing to know from races, the easier a race is at the start, the harder it will be at the end. Inversely, if it is flat out for the first 20 minutes, you can guarantee yourself it's going to drop. Or everyone else will drop off the bunch and the race is just disintegrated. So just watch for that. You can read a race by how it starts, know who you're racing against. And a lot of the time, people won't try anything different. So if someone's always attacking, watch that person. They'll always attack. If someone always loves to be the lead out, watch that person. They'll always be the lead out. If you're one of those who never attacks, try and attack. Or if you're one of those who does always attack and never has the legs at the end, sit in. Attack 3 to go. 1K to go. Do something different. If no one can read you, no one knows what's going on. We had someone we used to race with a lot who would do this before attacking on a hill climb. Holds a few world titles on the track too. This Masters racer could ride very, very well. One of my main competitors for many, many years. He'd crouch down, he'd look and turn back. He'd look and turn back. And then attack. Every time, like a book. Slane and I used to be like, here we go, here we go, here we go. And we're on. It was brilliant. It was just out of habit. What we could read. I probably have the same things. Slane could tell if I was in the front and we were racing, Slane and I did many thousands of Ks of races together. Stephen Lane. And If I'm on the front working hard in a break, Slane could tell when I was done and he'd roll around. My power was the same. I'm like, how the hell did you know? It was either me dipping my head or going to one side. We've all got those mannerisms that come out. If you race with the same people enough, you can spot them. It's awesome. It also gives you some comfort knowing what's going on. If you can read a race, it's good. But also use that against everyone else too. So if you know how, or develop a mannerism that can't be read. If you're in a breakaway and you're feeling okay, just start dropping your head a bit. Just start heaving on the bars a bit. Like shake your head, give a few head shakes. People will turn to you like, how many people are watching? Come on, I'm not going to give away all my secrets here. 227, we're good. Show people you're suffering. Give them a bit of pain face. Let out a big slag on, oh sorry, you can't slag anymore. People will look at you and write you off. So for the next few minutes, still in the back, have a breakaway, shake your head, nah, haven't got it. 5 minutes to go. Boom, go. Racing's about being an actor too. And then you got to win too, you got to win. But if it doesn't work, who cares? Everyone will have a laugh at the end. If you're racing with good mates. That's it, poke a hand. Many times we've done that up a climb. Because if you're on the limit, trying to judge other people, you'll quickly glance. Okay, his head's bobbing, done, forget about him. What about here? Dropping the wheel, no, okay, I'm feeling good. Next thing, this guy goes and attacks. You're like, what the hell? And by the time you even say, hang on, what the hell? He was suffering. There's 5 meters. You're out of the draft. Heaps of fun. Heaps of fun. So 2 crits I've raced angry, if you've been watching the stream before. Tour of Southwest, down in Warrnambool. I'd Masters A couple of years back. I'd won the time trial. I focused on the time trial, 15 or 13 kilometre time trial. Got the win there. Road race, always brutal. One rider slipped up the road and went. I tried to sit back in. Bad decisions. I was a few minutes down, so well out of GC. And then we line up for stage 3, the criterium. 45 minutes, really tight, 900 metre course, I think it was. With a steep hill we had to go to the small ring for every lap. Brutal climb. I wanted to be in the front position, so everyone's lined up at the start line. Skin suits and aero helmets. We're talking serious racing here. And there was a gap on the outside, so I arrived late, snuck up the outside and pushed my way to the front. Fair move. Better than faking a mechanical and backing into the bunch that you see pros do. Anyhow, Chief Commissaire spots that. Miller, back. I'm like, no. There was a gap. Miller, get to the back. I'm like, you can't be serious. Fair and square, I got to the start line and got my position. I saw it, mate. You weren't here early enough. I'm like, oh, you. Now, it wasn't my house, so I couldn't block him like Sir Knobs a lot before. So I'm like, it's on. And this criterium is where you wanted to be at the front because people are going to be shelled on the first lap, and were. Brutal course. I think it was Tour of Southwest 2014, might have been 13. I raced angry. Super angry. We got in a break. I'm guessing it was Brett Kingston, Dave Stegel-Sturt, chief coach of the Hurt Box, and we went. And I didn't care about the result. I just wanted to hurt everyone. And if you can throw away a race result and not care about your position, you don't care if you come last, then you got a whole other deck of cards to play with. So what can't I do? I can't race pretty hard anymore. Back in my day, That's where these stories are coming from. So we raced super hard. But it wasn't me riding super hard. I think it was Kingston and Steggles matched my effort. And if you've got 3 riders, given their absolute everything up this hill every lap, ripping the corners, sprinting out of them, it's going to be a quick race. Anyway, coming into I think it was 1 lap to go, and there was 3 or 4 of us then away. I heard one of them say, "It's still 2 to go," and I just heard the bell. I'm like, sweet, we're good. I mean, you don't correct someone if they think it's 2 to go and it's only 1. Your friends, and to the last few Ks. So then last corner, ripped it in, and with everything I had, again, speaking angry, I got the win. I was also fined for my celebration, which is a bit too over the top on the line. So the money that I won went back to the club or the organisation. I was pretty happy. That's 1 crit though, that's a good story. I mean, I've raced hundreds of crits where I've been well out the back. Q in Melbourne, Drapac were racing the VIS. Who else do we have rock up there? Budget forklifts. Those guys kept us honest. One of the best rides one night we had Nick Walker. I think it was Nick Walker. It wasn't Johnny, it was Nick Walker. Riding for Drapac. Gets on the front again. Warmed up at Q. Bang. On from the gun. And when a pro racer goes from the gun, you try and hold the wheel. So 2 or 3 laps, Nick and I had a break. He would work the hard part of the course, the hill. I'd do some turns around the back, and he was happy to drag me around. So Nick and I got away that night. That was cool. Swapping off turns with a pro in a local crit. They're the racing memories I won't forget. I didn't win, obviously. Hit the last lap and took off, but I was in awe. That was, again, it was luck. Any number of people could have been on the same wheel in the same position. Again, it's about positioning of a race. Here we go. Thanks for coming along to Lama Tells Race Stories. That's been fun. I used to blog all of these over on gplama.blogspot.com. Pretty much nearly every race that I did is dissected and spoken about. But nobody reads those kind of blogs anymore. They're still up there for historical purposes. All right, we've got to get this badge. Come on. But it's all fun. Like racing, you'll make some great friendships, even just riding in a bunch. Everyone has even bunch stories. Neil Robertson hit a cow once in our ride and kept it upright. Here we go. Hey, that's what I'm looking for. Good stuff. Okay, small cool down. Llama anger. I'll tell my other story another time for the Masters National Crit Champs here in Ballarat. The race was delayed. The race was delayed. And then they cut our 45-minute race down to 30 minutes plus 3 for a national championship. I mean, a criterium could be anything. It's as hard as you want to race it. Cheers, bunch. Who was with me there? Hopefully everyone got a ride on from that. Thanks for joining on there. I'll be just spinning the legs out for a little bit. So they shortened the race, and my plan was to sit in for 20 minutes and then go easy on the pedals. I'd done okay in the time trial the day before, and I set the fastest time, so criterium was just a rest day, effectively, between that and the road race. We have all 3 races. But they broke it down to 30 minutes. I'm like, well, I was going to ride half for 30 minutes, so let's go. So myself, Matt Upton from Perth, got away. Warren Nevitt, if anybody from Melbourne watching, was in the bunch chasing, or was working with us for a little bit. I don't know, we sort of kicked and got rid of him because he's got a damn good kick to him. So it was me and Uppers racing. And someone came across and we're like, who the? Because we were doing 430 watt turns on the front. Like, we were going hard. This guy still bridged. He's come over and he was done. He's like, let me sit on, I'll help keep you away. Cool, done. And I'm good mates with Uppers. So I'll just tell the whole story anyway. And Uppers like, mate, I'm not feeling it, I'll work for you. So there were 3 of us off the front, national championship in a criterium, probably 15 minutes to go. And I'd turn the race into something that worked for me, which was a time trial. And then Uppers is like, I'm cooked, I'm done. What do you want me to do? I said, just keep punching the wind. Just keep punching the wind for me. I'd sit on his wheel. And when you know someone, you can roll back onto their wheel perfectly. This other guy was with us as well. And he's like, you guys are riding so hard. This is really good. And he was praising us, which was good, but it could also be a tactic to soften us up for a bit. Anyway, coming into 3 to go, it was 3 of us for the championship. So we all had a medal if we finished. And I don't even think Uppers and I said to each other what to do. Uppers just knew. So Uppers gets on the front, probably a K to go, pulls a massive turn. I'm second wheel, this other guy's third wheel, which is dangerous because he could have got a run at us. Uppers slots out. I sit on the front. Probably 700 to go. I rip a turn, I look down at Uppers. Other guy's still third wheel. I go from the front. Uppers doesn't move. So what happened there is that the other guy got caught out because he couldn't see me jump because obviously he's looking at Uppers' wheel. I've gone in that direction so he couldn't see. By the time he's realised Uppers hasn't responded because Uppers is working for me, he's like, oh, he gets down into a sprint, into the gear. I'm gone. I am gone. So rather than sort of letting Uppers pull a turn for me and peeling off, he just sat there. He was probably still riding at 400, but I'd sprinted off and he'd become the barrier. So that worked really well, but it was just one of those, Uppers didn't have it in the sprint, but he had the ability to help me out. Very, very cool. Ever race against Maven? Once. Years and years ago. In a breakaway with Maeve. And there was this guy in a breakaway who would never pull a turn. Sat on, outfoxed us all. And rolled me for third, I think it was. That was probably 2009. That's a long while ago. I think Maeve and I have told that story a few times. I had no idea who this guy was who'd never roll a turn, but got us in the sprint. That's how you race. He got us. He was a beast at sprint. Yeah, for sure. Look, even when Maeve was unfit, he'd sneak down to Southern Masters and still roll them. In the money for the, B grade, I think? Yeah. Gen 3 Cyclic 12, no, nowhere near a GoPro, no. They're a different purpose. The Cyclic units are like the always recording, always on, technically a safety device, though it's after the fact. It's never going to keep you safe. It'll help your loved ones identify who killed you. Something like a Varia radar will stop you from being killed if you can use that information correctly. So GoPro are the next level. GoPro are so far beyond in the optics, stabilization, but you pay for that in battery life and recording and things like that. So if you want something to record all of your ride, you fly 12. If you want a sports cam to capture all the action, GoPro. Woo! 3:15 in the UK. So I'm apologies for the time that I've streamed this one, but I thought I'd spin up a live stream and have a chat. It's been fun. I've got another badge, another one to tick off over on zwifthub.com, and the questions have been great. The chat keeps getting me through these ones. Tactics and bike skills, not fitness. Yeah, there's still some pretty nifty riders in the lower grades of how to operate a bike. You get a lot of mountain bikers, cross racers, who aren't at A-grade level but can handle a bike better than any A-grader. They just don't have the fitness to do that. But you're right, A-graders have usually had the experience where they've had to bunny hop a rider or twitch a bike around. They've just had more time on the bike in wild scenarios to learn how a bike operates and to refine those skills. Maven was on a stream a couple of years ago. He lost his fitness and briefly sprinted 1600 watts. So yeah, for example, the MW, if you're a sprinter, usually you've got that sprint, and you just have to refine that to be able to sprint at the end of a hard race. For me, even on forms, I've never hit 1600. Not anywhere near that. All right, we'll go to 47 Ks up this hill. I'll give it a sprint. We'll see what we got. Small ring. Ready? Oh, not enough gear. Oh, nah. 1087. Not my day. Oof. Oof. No, I'm calling. I was going to say I'm calling it a day, but I can't. I've got to cool down from this. Not enough bike sound, sorry. The filter does a good job. At least in my data collection now I have a big sprint spike, which is what it's all about. Alrighty. Again, thank you everyone for coming along. Became an impromptu Llama Race Stories live stream. RTX voice all the time on this little mic here. It does such a good job of keeping the trainer noise down. 69 likes, smash the bottom. I do appreciate everyone watching and viewing and commenting. It's always a really, really good chat. My time flies on here. If I'm by myself, it's a bit of a slog getting it done. But with a few hundred people asking questions and picking my brain and throwing me curveballs, I absolutely love it. So thanks very much for everyone for coming along for this one. As always, make sure you're a subscriber. Eurobike isn't coming up, but a lot of companies are still producing new things for what would have been Eurobike. So stay tuned, there's new things coming out. You can't see them from here, but there's a bit of a hint there. Something's on the hallway. A few things in the hallway. You find out about them very, very soon if you're a subscriber. So thank you everyone again. And that's all we'll say. You got to be a subscriber. You'll find out very soon. All right, enjoy your Sunday, whatever's left of it, and steer clear of the Rhone, especially if you're in Melbourne. All right, everyone, have a good day.